Inspire, host, create, explore endless new possibilities, next level broadcasting. If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and so many more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. Download the Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started. This is Wellness Wednesday. Someone that I know sent me a video via TikTok, and it showed an individual that goes by the name of Joey Maiza, M-A-I-Z-A, and the individual talked about their regrets over transitioning themselves as well as other young people who have transitioned into other, genders. And I don't know a lot about this, but it did spark a lot of interest in me. And they also spoke of having, I'm sure they're on other social media platforms. I looked up the person briefly on YouTube. They have their own YouTube channel, Joey Maiza, M-A-I-Z-A. And they talked about detransitioning as well. And then they talked about how they know a lot of young people of various ages who have had deep regrets, but due to how far they've gone into the transition, they can't go back. They can't go back from it, is what this individual was saying. And not just so much the physical transitioning, but also a lot of it seems psychological and spiritual to me. I'm not an expert. Like I said, I don't know a lot about this. I'm aware of it in general, but I don't have a lot of knowledge of it or any personal knowledge of it. Like, no one close to me has shared this type of information with me. But I did look up something on the New York Post, and I'm going to read some of the content here. Evidently, the little bit that I skimmed over, there is a large and growing community of young people who have transitioned that are regretting it, and they seem to have some scarring psychologically from it, and they deeply regret it. This is something that I don't know about everybody else. Have you guys ever heard about this large mounting community or group of people, of young people, substantial numbers, who were allowed to, by their parents and other people and the agenda of the society, to transition into another sex or gender, or an ambiguous gender, so to speak? I know that exists. I am aware on some level of that, but they regret it. And it seems like they are trying to heal from it, so to speak. So I'm going to read an article, like I said, from the New York Post, and it says, I literally lost organs. Why detransition teens regret changing their genders. And the person that wrote it is Ricky Schlott. And it was done on June 18th of this year. So the individual that they quoted here, they don't say yet, but they will. It says, I was failed by the system. I literally lost organs. And then it says, when Chloe was 12 years old, she decided she was transgender. At 13, she came out to her parents. That same year, she was put on puberty blockers. So this person named Joey Maiza also spoke of that, puberty blockers. And then when he mentioned that, he started to really sob. So and prescribed testosterone, of course. Okay, at 15, she underwent a double mastectomy, and less than a year later, she realized she'd made a mistake, all by the time she was 16 years old. So you're starting at 12, 13, 15, 16. Okay, so this individual that identifies as Chloe, now 17. Chloe is one of a growing, they call a cohort called detransitioners, those who seek to reverse a gender transition. Often after realizing they actually do identify with their biological sex. Tragically, many will struggle for the rest of their lives, okay, with the irreversible medical consequences of a decision they made as minors. So clearly this is something that's physical, but like I'm saying, the psychological and that thing we talked about many times before, the spiritual ramifications and consequences behind it are long lasting. It's not impossible. Everything is possible through God, but that lies bare with God. God is able. Okay, so it says, Chloe says, I can't stay quiet. I need to do something about this and to share my own cautionary tale. Because when you're young, you're still finding out about yourself, who you are, who you even are, just in general. Independent of if you're male or female, just yourself, who you are as a person. So you haven't learned the things that you need to learn. You're finding your way. So if you're being allowed to do something that's life altering, not just to your body, to your mental state, to your spiritual self, it's not just the physical aspect, clearly. So then they show a picture of, I guess, of this young lady named Chloe as a female, and I guess Chloe as a male. Okay. In recent years, the number of children experiencing gender dysphoria in the West has skyrocketed. Exact figures are difficult to come by, but between 2009 and 2019, children began being referred for transitioning treatment in the UK increased 1,000% among biological males and 4,400% among biological females. Meanwhile, the number of young people identifying as transgender in the U.S. has almost doubled since 2017, according to a new Center for Disease Control and Prevention report. Historically, transitioning from male to female was vastly more common, with this cohort typically experiencing persistent gender dysphoria from a very young age. Recently, however, the status quo has reversed, and female to male transitions have become the overwhelming majority. Okay, so then they quote Dr. Lisa Littman, a former professor of behavioral and social sciences at Brown University, coined the term rapid onset gender dysphoria to describe this subset of transgender youth, typically biological females who became suddenly dysphoric during or shortly after puberty. Littman believes this may be due to adolescent girls susceptible to peer influence on social media. So this comes under what we talked about on Sunday about the things that we take in through our senses, meaning our eyes, and things that we take into our mental Rolodex, things that we're constantly looking at, thinking on, and being exposed to our words, our actions, the effect that they have. There's cause and there's effect. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Thanks for listening to Teachable Moments with April. If you did enjoy this episode, I invite you to come right back to check out my podcast and my other episodes. Don't forget to listen, add us to your favorites, and support by clicking on the link in the description. As always, be blessed and be well. Until next time.